and I'm back with another episode of Know My Plants. So, as you remember, in my previous video, I talked about jasmine, and today, I don't know whether you know this plant much, but lemongrass. Lemongrass is this plant, as you see. I know it looks like grass, but really it's a very common plant. At least its tea is very common. And one thing is that with this plant at least, is that as you see, the roots of this plant had come out of its pot. So I have just repotted the plant. Okay, so in the previous video, I couldn't show repotting of jasmine. So this one was an opportunity. As you see, out of its drainage holes, the roots are coming out. So I found this as an opportunity to show you the repotting of lemongrass. For this video, I'm using natural compost, also known as vermicompost. In this mix that I'm using to repot the lemongrass, I'm using a total of soil, coco peat, and vermicompost. Here now I am adding water. Also my mom is adding water to the coco peat for it to erupt, because you get these coco peats in block, and you normally exactly how you're seeing in the video. You add water and you scrape out the coco peat, and also the coco peat erupts like bulges when you and then you just take it out. And then you just mix the soil together, take out all the rocks, make sure that it is good, and now take the lemongrass from its previous pot. Use something like a trowel, like how my mom's using, and just give it a shake. Make sure not to hurt the plant, and then very carefully take the roots out of the lemongrass out of the pot. And I'm not showing this because I did not know this information when I was shooting the video, but just loosen the ends of the soil, place it in, cover the downer soil of the new pot, and then put the lemongrass plant in and cover it like how you saw. Be very careful and your lemongrass plant will be repotted. And and now it's in a bigger pot. So one thing you need to know about pots for this plant is that if you have ground space, then it's best to put it in the garden. But if you don't have ground space, then get a big pot like this one. I don't know whether the roots will come out of this also. I have to check every day. Now about sunlight, the most important thing for any plant. Sunlight. The sunlight, this one needs a lot of sun. So like the jasmine plant and like any flowering plant, even though this is not a flowering plant, keep it nearest to light. So I had kept it there because I knew this information. Then I had to repot it, and I knew I couldn't keep it in that hanging pot. So I kept it the nearest place that most sun comes to. So sun is falling on this plant. Another thing that this plant really needs to be in a space with high humidity. So if you don't know what humidity is, then humidity is basically the amount of vapor in the air, water vapor in the air. So it's best, like if you live near a lake, then it's really good because the water vapor will be high in that place. But if you live in an apartment or a city like me, that luxury is not there. But try to create, and if you don't have a place that has humidity, then there's this thing called a humidifier. It basically you fill water in it and then it will create vapor. I am going to do that for my indoor plants because there's no humidity. So for plants, basically the more the humidity, the more growth happens. So now that there are so many plants over here, humidity is good amount because all of them are getting watered and the vapor will also be created. But if you're a beginner like how I was, then it's best to invest in a humidifier. And normally when you go to the nursery and buy this plant, it's quite small, like how it was. It looked so cute. And then it'll be in these paper bags. I wish I could shoot that, but I couldn't. In these paper bags that, plastic containers. So when you bring it from the nursery, don't be in a hurry to repot it. Wait a few days, keep it in a place that gets some shade. So when I bought this plant, I didn't directly keep it there, especially because of Corona. Thanks to quarantine, I kept it in a place with shade. So I kept it there where this plant could give it a good amount of shade before I could keep it with direct sunlight there. Because you have to let the plant get used to the amount of humidity in your space, the amount of sunlight in your space, because it's different from the humidity in the nursery wala space or the sunlight in the nursery wala space. So, did you know that this plant, unlike any other grass that only sheep and cows can eat, this one humans can make tea out of it. It's anti-inflammatory, it reduces stress levels, and it's antiseptic. So let's get right to it. I'm going to show you how to make the tea. So first you need a scissors like this. Don't cut the whole branch. That's one mistake I did when first time I was making lemongrass tea. Take a few leaves from a few of these edges, and I've got my lemongrass. I think this is enough for me and my family. Okay, so we got our stuff. We got our lemongrass, we got our boiling water, some jaggery, and our glass with a lemon wheel. You can skip that if you want, it's just for, looking good. Okay, so what we're going to do, you can use a knife if you want, but I am not using a knife because it's very dangerous. On the stove, I'm using an induction. The induction started, and you basically just cut the pieces of lemongrass slowly. Don't be in a hurry. And it's okay if it's not even, right? Because you're going to drain the lemongrass. So, and also, just so you know, if you have a lemongrass plant, try smelling the leaves. And I'm going to let this boil for 5 minutes, okay? So, if you just want to see, it's bubbling. I don't think you can see my face because of this. So now, just so you know, the lemongrass is boiling in high flame. So after 5 minutes, I have to put it on a simmer and then again boil it for 5 minutes. Just so you know, this lemongrass tea is also known to be good for immune system, and it's also known to be good for general health. Guys, now after all the cooking, we are going to try it out. We're going to strain it. Mom's straining the lemongrass tea for me. Now you can see this jaggery powder. It's powdered, it's grated jaggery. I'm going to add a bit of this in, just for the sweetness. And now we mix it. Okay, now the tea has now cooled down, and I'm going to try tasting. It tastes quite nice, and it has that hint of lemongrass like I thought it would. And if you really And if you're vegan like me and you really miss your tea, I mean, like, this tastes kind of like black tea, so it's really nice. And why don't you try it out?